Welcome to the Moss Sports Podcast, the podcast that's already on life support before it gets going. My name is Andy Robertson. I'm joined by Spencer Griffin and the Emmy Award-winning Mauricio Beltran-Hernandez. You know we're just going to say that every time.
Every
Mauricio.
time.
Yeah, every time.
We're so proud.
Every time. And today we're going to be reviewing Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar.
You're welcome.
Yep. Just kidding.
10 out of 10 would listen again.
I listened to it like 3 times since the Super Bowl halftime show. At least 3 times.
I get it.
So let's go ahead and kick this off with talking about college basketball. Spencer, I think you had some stuff you wanted to talk about with this. I have a team that I wanted to just throw in the mix just for fun.
I had a team I wanted to throw out of the mix, and that's going to be the Purdue Boilermakers. They have definitely not made me happy the last week. They lost 2 straight, and then they beat Indiana by 2. So that's not great. But I will say I am all in on Arizona. I know they had that loss we talked about last week, but now they beat number 16 USC by 20 with a great team effort. 5 players in double figures, 6 players with at least 4 rebounds, and 4 players with at least 3 assists. So I think I'm really going to back them when it comes to making our bracket. And we'll get to making our brackets in a couple weeks. And then I want to say also TCU. I think TCU is a really dangerous team, and I think we might see some upset from them when it comes to the tournament, because they beat back-to-back top 10 teams. They beat Texas Tech by 3, and Texas Tech was number 9. They also beat Kansas, who was number 6, by 10. Of course, they played Kansas again and lost, but they only lost by 4, so it's really not a bad loss. I think watch for them to potentially get a big upset in the big dance. So see how I skirted around that copyright there. So they're currently, or at least at the time of doing this, they were 19-10, 8-9 in the Big 12. And I feel like they're a major boom or bust team. They can, either lose in the first round or make a deep run and shock everybody, make the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. So what do you guys think about what has unfolded this last week?
Well, I just want to say thank you to UNC for ruining my dreams, and ruining Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor. I'm just kidding. I'm not a Duke fan, but
I mean, he'll take that loss if they end up winning the championship, though.
Oh yeah. But just for the sake of conversation, I just want to throw Baylor into the mix of teams that I kind of like. I know last week they beat Kansas by 10, and they hopped up in the rankings after that win. Their record against top 25 teams isn't that great. I think they're 5-3. They have 2 losses against Texas Tech, a bad loss against Kansas earlier on in the season.
I don't know. Can you count that as a bad loss, though? Any of those? Because Texas Tech is top 10, and then Kansas top 10 too. Is it bad loss?
The point differential to Kansas was pretty bad.
I see what you're saying.
That's what I meant. But they have a couple of guys that could potentially be first-round draft picks, at least maybe one potential lottery pick in Kendall Brown and Jeremy Sohan. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Again, with Baylor, kind of like Duke, their stats as a team aren't flashy, but they're still getting it done. And I think once tournament time comes, then maybe they can go out and win another national championship like they did a couple of years ago. I don't know.
That'd be impressive. I mean, especially like you said, they've got some good players, but they don't have, that star number 1 draft pick. That would be kind of similar to what they did. Was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
Mauricio is the expert on these things.
Of course.
There wasn't a tournament in 2020, right?
Yeah.
Then it was last year, I guess. They were finally back, I guess. Yeah, so I don't even know how they did it last year.
You still rocking with Providence, even though they lost to Villanova?
Yeah, they're gonna ride the Big East tournament to the title.
I'm excited to see it. It'll be pretty awesome.
Mauricio, you said you didn't know how they do it. There's this orange thing that they grab.
Reminds me of that interview a few years ago. Guy talks about rebounding the basketball.
Yeah. Yep.
Lord of mercy. But yeah, I mean, college basketball is going strong. We're almost to March Madness. Got the conference tournaments going on.
Copyright.
Some of them are copyright.
Already going.
Yeah, we got some smaller conferences finishing up their conference tournaments. The bigger ones still haven't gotten underway, but see how that shapes our brackets. And we're going to really have to, I don't know, do you guys want to do a joint bracket or do you want to bring 3 different ones to the table or what?
I mean, we can always do one on a website and get a paper one, and just, if I don't know, sometimes I fill out a couple just to.
Yeah, that works for me. We may need to do that draft where we'll have to explain it a little better in another episode, but we may do a draft where we try to pick the best players who will score the most points throughout the tournament. So you don't necessarily want somebody great on a bad team that maybe get bounced in the first round. You may want somebody a little lower that would make a deeper run so they would have more points. But like I said, we'll explain it more.
Yeah. So I do want to mention this because you mentioned the smaller college or the smaller conference tournaments finishing up. There's a little bit of controversy in the ASUN conference right now.
I knew you'd bring up the ASUN.
Well, it's the one I'm the most familiar with.
I get it. But Bellarmine, who is it? Bellarmine and if I'm pronouncing that right, in Jacksonville? Yeah.
So Bellarmine, I guess Bellarmine upset Liberty yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's an upset. Bellarmine's been having a good year.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Bellarmine is one of those schools that has been in transition from Division 2 up to Division 1. And with those rules, transition rules, you're ineligible for postseason play, I guess, for NCAA tournament play. So now this morning I saw that they could potentially not be playing in the NCAA tournament, even though they could be ASUN title or ASUN champions. So Jacksonville State would be the school to go, I think.
They would. So they would still take an ASUN team, right?
Yeah, but Bellarmine wouldn't get to go to the tournament. ASUN would still have an at-large bid, but
it's very interesting.
So yeah, it's wild. I can't believe. I mean, it's the rule, but at the same time, it's just it's wild.
That is crazy.
I guess it is Jacksonville. Okay.
Yeah. Because I saw they beat Jacksonville State the other day, or maybe yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, we can move on. Let's stick to basketball here.
Okay.
Because there's some later adjustments to the MLB. People met today, and there's some.
Oh, okay.
A couple
I did
things
not know that.
Yeah, there are a couple of things I wanted to bring up with that, but yeah, let's go ahead and go to NBA and just a guy that he's from Morehead State. He's kind of good at basketball. He's been drawing some comparisons to some people.
You mean Murray State?
Yeah, Murray State. Sorry, I get those two confused all the time.
You're good.
All the time. Yeah, you're right. But Ja Morant, Charles Barkley doesn't like him because he only has 2 letters in his name. But yeah, he's just been going off lately. And I think whenever I saw some highlights of him, I thought he looked like Derrick Rose to me, pre-injury Derrick Rose. And I know I messaged you guys about it, and Spencer, that's kind of what you thought too, or you said, or you could see it at least. So yeah, we can go ahead and talk about Ja a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get long-winded about this. So, Mauricio, do you want to go ahead and start it off on this one?
It's just like, obviously, I hadn't kept up with I don't like the NBA draft and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know he was like this high of a pick from like Murray State, and then all of a sudden, like he's like doing all these things, and now he's like an MVP talk apparently too.
We'll get to that. He is on the list at least.
So it's just crazy, because like you think about Murray State and you're like, what? Like, how does a guy that go there, like make this big splash in the NBA?
Yeah, it is pretty incredible. I mean, you see other. I guess if you want to make that comparison, like you said, some with a smaller school guy, you would look at maybe Damian Lillard from Weber State, but
Steph Curry and Davidson.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's definitely not unheard of. It's uncommon. Usually you see these guys from the blue chip schools coming in and doing well. But, yeah, it's a lot harder for the guys from the smaller schools to have breakout years like he's having right now. And the game the other day that blew my. I can't even remember who they were playing, to be honest. He overshadowed everything that game. He had
I think
the
I
point,
know.
the 0.4 second buzzer beater. He had the nasty poster. That buzzer beater. He was a fader out of bounds to beat the buzzer with 0.4 seconds left. It was a full court. He was absolutely insane. Add that to a monster poster of 52 points, 7 rebounds on 22 of 30 from the field, and 4 for 4 from 3. So that's just, I mean, it is mind-boggling. So, and that's just one game. And then on Friday, maybe the game you're talking about, he showed a crazy offhand alley-oop. So he's been on a tear this season, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about Ja before we get into the Derrick Rose talk. So I'm probably going to upset you.
No, I don't think you're going to upset me. Yeah, but Ja, he just looks explosive. He shoots not the best from the field, but he's he's putting up points. I think I'm going to jump into the Derrick Rose comparisons that I found, at least, just because the stats are kind of similar to Rose's MVP season, 2010-11. I think that was the year. And then, so I know you have stats to compare, but I dug into like some of the. I'm a baseball guy, so I kind of like the sabermetric stuff, not the typical batting average. RBI stuff,
what they call advanced analytics or whatever.
Yeah. So I dug into the per 36 a little bit, and Jaws is a little bit better than Rose. Though Rose's win shares were like, I think he had 13 win shares his MVP season, and Ja only has 6.3 right now. But that's comparing 81 games to 50 games right now. So, but that's still. Ja would have to get like 7 win shares to get close to Rose.
Yeah, we'll see what it ends up with. But I am glad you brought up win shares because I forgot to look at that.
Yeah. He's helped Memphis to the 3rd seed in the West. And I know he's not the only one doing it because they have Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks, and an unsung hero that we'll talk about in a second. But what kind of boggles my mind is, so Rose won the MVP that year. But you go to Basketball Reference and they have a list of MVP candidates and kind of where they're ranked or percentage ranks or whatever. And so the list is Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, Chris Paul, Rudy Gobert, Jimmy Butler, James Harden, and then it's Ja Morant. So that kind of blows my mind that he's like 8th in that list. So I know you can make an argument for any of those guys, but it just... How is Ja only 8th in that list?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you sent me that list, that made me probably irrationally angry. Like I was so mad to see because it was you had maybe the top, I think 3 or 4 that are fine. Like obviously Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid are having great seasons, so nobody can really argue against that. But then to see names like Chris Paul, who's out for the foreseeable future until the playoffs. To see Rudy Gobert and Jimmy Butler, maybe Harden. But I mean, that kind of remains to be seen at this point because it's just been a flash in the pan right now. But yeah, that made me mad to see. I feel like Ja just got super disrespected on that list. But to go back to the D Rose stuff, I was thinking it was a novel idea that we were sitting here talking about. Pre-injury Derrick Rose against Ja, and then I see everybody's talking about it. So I decided to kind of dive into the stats. Obviously, like you said, the adjusted stats and the advanced stats. Went ahead and looked at per 36, per 100 possessions. So kind of effectively helping adjust for the pace of play because obviously it's going to be different, 10 years ago than it is today. But like you said, looking at it, even though he's only 46 games into the season and when comparing it to D Rose's MVP season, he's just got all around better stats. Like you said, the only ones that I was able to find, and I said this last episode and I'll say it again. I'm not going to read off all these numbers because I know I'm going to lose everybody, but, you brought up win shares, and I found one more that favors D Rose quite a bit, and that's VORP, and that's value over replacement players. So
Same as war in baseball.
Yeah, so he leaps Ja quite a bit over that. So it's obvious that, and we talk about MVP and that V, valuable. That kind of, I mean, that's kind of right there for it. So, but I mean, looking at the stats, yeah, Ja's having a fantastic season, and I know it's hard. It's hard for people to admit, maybe a bit premature. So we'll see how he does this season and maybe across multiple seasons. But I think if he keeps it up, he can absolutely be Derrick Rose pre-injury, maybe even better. And the numbers just show that. So sorry, Andy, but yeah, it's just I think that's just how I see it personally. He's just so explosive, and he's must-watch basketball every single night. He's made the Grizzlies must-watch basketball, and we've seen years previous they have not been like that. They've been more of a Utah Jazz type of team where people tend to not tune into those games. Heck, all three of us went to a Grizzlies game kind of during that era.
Yeah.
Not the most exciting basketball. Of course, see
Vince Carter.
Yeah. We went for a Suns game, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a little more for me to see them than it was for anything else. But yeah. And
I would 100% go watch the Grizzlies right now.
For sure.
I'd get in the car and go. Mauricio, you're not here in Arkansas with us. We're under a tornado watch. So,
are we really?
Yeah. Really?
Or it's a warning, I think, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But I turned on the Suns and Bucks game, and it's they're doing the weather report right now instead of the game.
Hey, if I get sucked out of the window, it'll be a stream to remember. We'll get some views off this one.
We're just going to keep all this in, by the way.
No, you're good. That's fine.
Because we may. No, I'm not going to go that far.
Don't do it. Don't say it.
I didn't know the weather was going to be bad in Arkansas today.
It was supposed to rain, and then it hasn't really done anything today. I mean, it's done a little bit, but not much. So
it's just it's always weird over there, at this time of the year, like right between winter and spring over there. You get all this stuff going on.
One day it's icy, the next day it's 70 degrees, and then the next day they're under a tornado watch.
Jeez.
Let's draw back into the topics. I know you brought up an unsung hero for the Grizzlies, Andy.
Who is it?
Reveal who it is.
Is he from? Oh shoot! I always forget. New Zealand.
He's a Kiwi.
Yep. He's a tall Kiwi.
He is a tall Kiwi.
It's a Gonzaga Kiwi.
Oh shoot!
Oh.
Yes, that's right. We talked about Steven Adams.
That was such a long reveal.
Yeah, good Lord. That was so unnecessary. Yes, I feel like he's been very unrecognized for a lot of the season. Of course, he's playing alongside Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr., like you mentioned, Dylan Brooks, Brandon Clark, and I totally forgot about Desmond Bain and getting a little worried about it. I heard it pouring. This season, Adams is averaging only 9.3 points per game and 7.9 rebounds per game, which, I mean, doesn't sound crazy impressive. The rebounds, of course, are, but more importantly, he's just moving guys out of the lane, creating space, setting screens, and in my opinion, he's one of the best in the league at setting screens. We've seen him really have an impact in that facet. My mind goes to a screen. I want to say maybe in the playoffs. It may not have been on who's a little pesky point guard from Arkansas that nobody likes.
Patrick Beverly.
There you go. That he really messed him up on a screen one time. But I mean, he just creates space for Ja to do his thing, and we know floor spacing is huge in this era. I mean, it's paramount. You see teams, Lakers, they're struggling with that, and then you see
Suck it, Mauricio.
You see other teams using it to their advantage. Well, I'm glad. I didn't know we could say "suck it," but I'm on it. I think without Steven Adams, I think this season looks a lot different for the Grizzlies. So it's not reflected through his stats, but watch them play on TV, you'll definitely see its impact.
Yeah. You can go ahead, Mauricio.
No, I was just gonna say, like, how soon until they win a championship?
Oh, well, that might be jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah.
They are very young, though. So, I mean, they could keep their core together and have
Yeah.
a chance.
I think they're just missing Avery Johnson
Okay. Well, okay.
on the sidelines, you know.
You should be muted for that.
Avery Johnson and Mark Jackson. Is that who you want for their coach too?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I dug into you mentioned the rebounding. I dug into that a little more, and this is a career year for him in terms of rebounding. It seems like he's his per 36 rebounds are higher than any other point in his career, and that's largely helped by his offensive rebounding. He's leading the league in offensive rebounding, which coincidentally is the Grizzlies have the most second chance points in the league as well, and
Not know that.
and it's not close in offensive rebounding. Steven Adams has 67 more whenever I researched it Friday than Mitchell Robinson.
Holy
So
cow.
that's a huge margin.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed that I didn't find that.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mentioned second chance opportunities. The Grizzlies lead the league with 18.2 second chance points. The Raptors are second with 16.4. So that just there tells you the value that Steven Adams is bringing, at least on the offensive end. And I know he gets it done on the defensive end too. So
Yeah, I mean, not to mention you brought up Ja Morant. I mean, he shoots fine, but he's not the most efficient player, and that certainly helps having second chance points like that.
Right. And just another thing, his win shares this year are 5.0. Last year they were 4.0 for a full season. So he's contributing, but he may not get the ESPN highlights or the whatever but he's doing a lot to help them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit shocked that they let go of Valanciunas for Steven Adams. Well, I guess it was a couple years ago, but I mean, certainly ended up panning out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about staying in the East. Harden and Embiid, they have really caught fire in the first few games that they've played. Andy does not look impressed. I think it's safe to say that they've gotten off to a pretty hot start. I didn't see it coming like this personally, but oh no!
My first sentence in my notes is, I think we all saw this coming.
Oh no! Okay, well, maybe I'm blind today. But
we all did except for Spencer.
Yeah.
Well, Mauricio and I both pointed that this was the best move of the deadline.
Well, y'all did. I didn't say that.
Yeah, but
you can say you saw it coming, but you didn't see it coming like to be this great. Like they exploded out of the gate. Surely you thought it would take a little bit of time to get some cohesion together, right?
Yeah, I mean, after that 50-point loss to the Celtics, sure.
Oh gosh!
But Harden wasn't playing
me today. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead. I mean, fine. You know what? Fine. I can take it. But I mean, the competition hadn't been the top of the league, but that doesn't change the fact that they've been like super lethal. Since going to Philly, Harden's points per game have gone up by 4.8 to 27.3 points per game, and his assists have gone from 10.2 to 12.3 per game. He's also adding one more rebound per game and shooting an average of 1.7 more free throws per game, unfortunately for the viewers. It's a small sample size, but he's shooting 50% from three with the 76ers and 59% from the field. Add that to 89.7% from the line, and he's really taken off. So, I mean, we didn't even get to Embiid yet, but just seeing Harden's numbers are crazy, and he's certainly helped Embiid's game by taking the load off of his shoulders and opened up the floor for other players as well.
I think that's what I meant by, that we could see it kind of coming. Because Mauricio and I talked, I don't know if Mauricio mentioned this, but I talked about how, Simmons can't shoot.
Okay. He can't shoot when he's not playing, for sure.
Right, but he's not a very good shooter. And Harden can space the floor a little bit with his shooting and open things up.
But he didn't really prove a whole lot with the Nets this year. Right,
but he also was playing on a team with Kevin Durant hurt most of the year and Kyrie Irving playing half the season. So I don't know. But yeah, he adds that element that the 76ers didn't have with Ben Simmons. So I think that's kind of where I'm coming from, of I think we could all kind of see this, but
I see what you're saying.
I guess you're right in that we didn't know that it was going to be this good. I guess.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah. And I mean, and another, like I said, other role players have definitely been affected by him being able to open the floor, especially I want to mention Tyrese Maxey. The addition of James Harden opened up the floor a ton. Remember us talking about spacing. So, like, yeah, Maxey's gotten a ton of open looks, and that allows him to do what he does best, and that's score the ball. So in 3 games that he's played since Harden came over, Maxey's gone 28-2-2 with 4 steals, 75% from the field and 66.7% from 3, 21-7-3 and 25-4-3, all on very high percentages, especially from 3. Before that, he was kind of fluctuating a little bit in the low double figures and in the low 20s, but Harden's really opened up his game and it's turned into an integral piece for this team, and everybody saw it coming. It was super obvious that was the best move of the deadline. Last night they did lose to the Heat by 17. They were held to 82 points, and guess what? Harden didn't play, so you can see the huge impact that he has on that team. Embiid struggled being the focus again. I guess he already got used to Harden being there. He went 4 for 15, 0-6 from 3. So Harden really coming in and making an impact, and I called it first. I said it was going to be, the move of the century. Y'all are right to dog me on that. Y'all are absolutely right.
Come on, man.
It's totally fine.
Come on. All right, let's talk about some NFL. So we were trying to get to DK Metcalf last time, and we did not get to him. He's trying to train for the Olympics once again. And so just best of luck at him, but I think we've got some little things we want to talk about with that. So whichever one of you guys wants to go first can
go. The expert. He don't know he's the expert. Hey,
he took a new position to get serious.
Yeah. It's just like there's been other people before that they're like, oh, I'm gonna train for an Olympic sport in the NFL, right? Like they're gonna like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try for the next Olympics. They say all this, and then it gets time to it, and you're like, they're not even there, So I don't know. I just think he's just saying it for saying it. I don't think he's gonna do it. I don't know how the NFL or even the team would be like, oh yeah, take time off, risk injury, and go to the Olympics.
I was wondering about that too, because
there's no way like the Seahawks is gonna be like, oh yeah, take the summer.
It's got to be in his contract not
go run,
to do stuff like this. And then he's probably gonna have to cut weight because to get even faster if he trimmed up a little bit, and then that would affect his playing career. So yeah, you're right. I don't know what the Seahawks think about that.
Well, right now they're trying to figure out what's going on with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll.
That's true.
So
they got a lot going on.
Yeah. They'll forget about him then. He'll be in like where are the Olympics next in the next 4 years?
Oh shoot, I didn't know where it was going to be, but I don't remember.
Oh, I think it's over here, no? North America.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's still. We don't get anything nice over here. I know LA tried to get it, but what would that be? The 2024?
2020. Yeah, 24. Yeah.
I'm getting my Olympics and World Cup mixed up.
That is in Paris.
Oh, Ooh. Be nice.
Well, it's confusing though because we had the 2020, or in 2021 we had the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. That was confusing. Oh, yeah. And then we had the Olympics this year. Which
makes sense though. You're not going to change the name.
I think a couple of days ago I was like, "Are the Olympics still going on?" And so I had to look to see if they were.
Oh my gosh!
I just wasn't invested this time, I guess.
Let's go from one fast guy to another fast guy. Tyreek Hill. So
he's my favorite player.
I know he is. He's definitely your favorite. But he won't quit talking now. He's mad that everybody else is claiming to be fast. And this really rubbed me the wrong way because in the Pro Bowl, like he had a chance to prove that he was the fastest when Micah Parsons, among others, beat him. And he didn't even take off his jacket, just jogged his way to the finish line, collected a paycheck, and now he's talking. Like, you had your chance, you chose to loaf. Quit talking. Don't come for me.
So there is something to that, I believe, because he did injure his heel against either the Steelers or the Bengals. I can't remember, but he injured his heel, and so I don't know that he was fully healthy by the Pro Bowl. I don't know.
I mean, but
he might have been.
Then don't be in the thing. Don't be in it at all.
He clearly wasn't trying his hardest.
Oh, I know, but I mean, if you're obviously injured, why would you even be in it?
No.
The paycheck.
Show namas.
Because he wants to save all his energy for Usain Bolt.
Gosh. Usain Bolt's like 50 now, so. Yeah. Oh,
and he could still beat any of us in a race.
Well, no doubt. Absolutely. But speaking of running fast again, let's go to the combine. Let's talk some combine. Mauricio, who has stood out to you?
Oh, that offensive tackle from Minnesota, dude.
I was going to bring him up.
Yeah. I think they said, 6'8", 364, I want to say?
No, he's 384.
384?
Yeah.
Really? That's a huge guy.
Jeez.
Yeah. They said he's the heaviest since at least 2006.
Jeez.
I want that man on my team.
Who's that, the hefty lefty?
Dang. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. R.I.P.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Jared Lorenzen.
Soon.
Sorry.
You saw another big guy that was really impressive too, was Jordan Davis, all the Georgia defensive linemen were impressive, I guess, but especially him. He ran, I don't even know,
4.76.
4.7. I got 4.78. It is, yeah. I'm going to bring that up too. The times are really weird this year. But yeah, he's 341 pounds, ran a 4.78 or 4.76, whoever you want to believe. 40 time, which is absolutely insane for
how's that possible
like that. And then I sent you guys this morning. The one I saw was I don't know if he's a D lineman or a linebacker, a hybrid maybe, and he ran the fastest.
Edge rusher.
Yeah, what was it, a 4.36 or something?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Gosh, you're right, Andy. You said that quarterback's gonna get killed. That's insane.
Absolutely insane. So he was a defense linebacker, right, or D line or something, one of those.
And he said
we'll just call it an edge rusher.
Because then there was those two receivers, right, the day before or something that were like 4.2 something.
Well, see, and that's the issue, and I was going to bring that up too. Yeah, Baylor wide receiver Tyron Thornton, he had the best among wide receivers with so they unofficially said it was a 4.21, which would have been the record, but then they changed it to a 4.28. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, that dude was flying. And then Ohio State wide receiver, they had a tandem of wide receivers ran really great times. He and Garrett Wilson, they ran a 4.39 and a 4.38. And then Olave's unofficial was 4.26. That's a huge discrepancy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was 3 receivers that ran a sub 4.3, and 9 receivers ran a sub 4.4, which is the most since, again, 2006, which caused me to dig and figure out what in the world happened in 2006. And I looked, and it was the Reggie Bush, Vince Young, Santonio Holmes, Vernon Davis. But yeah,
did those guys run?
I did note that those were the sub 4.4 guys that panned out anywhere. There were a lot, but the only ones that panned out were Santonio Holmes, Vernon Davis, which I was shocked to see Vernon Davis ran a 4.4 or lower, and MJD Jones Drew. Yeah, he ran a sub 4.4. It surprised me. And Reggie Bush, I guess, if you want to say he panned out, not really, but he's a name people would recognize. So, but yeah, just dudes. I don't know what happened. I don't know why and I want to get you guys' thoughts on it, why the unofficial 40 times seemed so off this year. Do you think it was to drum up hype? And then also, why are the receivers so fast, even with the official times? Is it because the game's changing, strength and conditioning getting better? Is sports science just improving that much? What do you guys think?
Something's going on. It's like I can't imagine like running that fast. Like the linemen or linebackers back in the day. Like I mean, we're talking like 2010 now, when I was like going into college and all that stuff. And that's when I really started seeing like the NFL and like the combine and stuff like that, right? And it just seems like it's evolved so much from then. And like, it just seems people are getting faster and stronger. Even high school, you see like the kids when play high school now, they seem huge. And I like
Yeah.
remember back in my day, I'm like, you had maybe one or two people like with that, but now you have like whole teams.
Now, when you say something's happening, do I need to put my tinfoil hat on, or you gonna hit us with a conspiracy?
You need to put your doctor coat on.
Jeez. Okay. What do you think, Andy?
I did have a theory earlier on the clock differential times, but it slipped my mind since then.
Okay.
But well, I think one of the things with sports is it's constantly changing. I think even from growing up watching the NFL, you had the four down linemen, 3 down linemen on defense, and I mean, just we were talking just a second ago, like you don't know if that guy's a defensive end or if he's a linebacker. I think edge rusher has been a term that's kind of come up recently in the last few years, and that's kind of the hybrid player of linebacker, defensive end, because I remember like growing up, defensive ends were, they were beefy. They weren't like super lean, but now you've got guys that are lean and coming off the edge of, just quick. And just to talk about the wide receiver group, I was listening to a different podcast a couple weeks ago, and the guys were talking about the combine coming up, and well, one of the so they do punishments every. Come on.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you could hear that.
Yeah, they do punishments. Whoever gets the most donations has to do some kind of punishment, and this particular time was to do 3 events from the combine. And one of the events was to do his 40 time, and they talked like the 40's not like super important, I guess. I mean, for some players, I guess it is, but it's just
who runs in a straight line the fastest.
Yeah, because that is a lot different than game speed. But also, being a quick receiver doesn't always translate to being good, or being a quick player doesn't always translate to being good. Because, like you mentioned, there were groups or players from 2006 that didn't make it.
Oh yeah, I hadn't heard of someone.
Yeah, and then I found Cooper Kupp ran a 4.61, and he just.
Oh, did he? Oh my gosh, really?
And he just had a stellar year. Devontae Adams ran a 4.56. So speed doesn't always translate to being a good receiver. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I love the 40 time. It's kind of fun to see what guys do at least. At the very least.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that fantasy football thing. That sounds like a fun type of punishment, like a little embarrassing, but
it's not a fantasy football. It's a live show they do every Thursday, and they take donations, and whoever gets the most donations is the ones that's punished. And so a guy had to dress up as a Head and Shoulders bottle, or this last week some dude had to dress up as a cat. So,
oh gosh. Well, one big topic in the combine this year has been Kenny Pickett's hands, measured at 8.5 inches, which is very small, smaller than any active QB in the NFL right now. So do you guys think that'll have a big impact on his draft stock and ultimately his NFL career?
I don't know.
I just think like this draft class is so like weak in quarterbacks. It probably won't make a difference this year. Any other year, probably, I would have put him back a couple rounds maybe. But this year, I'm like, who else are you going to draft at quarterback,
Well, that was my next question, too. After we talk about Kenny Pickett, we'll get into the different quarterbacks. But, I think – I don't know. I think it could have an impact. It's a pretty big anomaly. It's not just – one of those things where you're like, oh, it just happens to be. But I mean, at the same time, you look at like Joe Burrow, he's got a 9-inch hand, which is, it was criticized the year of his combine, and he's doing just fine. So he may be fine.
Yeah. It may just be like, how the idea of being a small quarterback is kind of going away too with
That's
Kyler
true.
Murray and
Kyler Murray's like 4'11". He's doing great.
yeah. But for the record, my hand measured 9.5 inches, so I have bigger hands than Kenny Pickett.
Oh, take that, Kenny.
You have bigger hands than me, though, Spencer. You didn't want to mention that.
I wasn't gonna get on my high horse there. But so let's bring it back to the QBs. We've got so Kenny Pickett we've already mentioned. And then there was a couple more of note that I thought. Let me read out some Kenny Pickett stats for you. We got Kenny Pickett 6'3", 217. Out of Pittsburgh, ran a 4.73 40, had a 33.5 vertical. NFL.com's got him as 6.39 prospect grade, which categorizes him as will eventually be an above average starter, which all the guys I'm going to talk about have fall into that category. Put up crazy numbers at Pitt for I think he ranked 6th in the FBS with 4,300 passing yards, 67% completion, 42 passing touchdowns, 7 picks. He had 241 rushing yards, including sick fake slide. We all remember.
Mm-hmm. It's been outlawed.
NFL.com has his comparison listed as Andy Dalton in his prime, which is
what do you think about that, Mauricio?
You don't want to be compared to Andy Dalton.
No, y'all were hating on that. I didn't think that was that bad. I thought Andy Dalton had a pretty good career in his prime.
With everything that's happened in Cincinnati in 2 years, you kind of look at Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton as wasted years, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, a lot has changed other than just the quarterback.
Dalton did have some good targets, though. In Cincy.
That's true. He did have AJ Green.
AJ Green, yeah.
He has some good teams. So now we can look at it and like he was the problem.
He was
an average quarterback, you know?
I don't think he's just an all-star or, all pro or anything like that, but he was good. He was fine.
Yeah, that kind of thinking got him the starting job in Chicago last year.
Jeez. Well, speaking of Cincinnati, let me go with the Cincinnati QB, Desmond Ridder. 6'3", 211, ran a 4.5 240, better than 12 wide receivers that ran on Thursday. So that could improve his draft stock with the evolution of the mobile quarterbacks like
what's
Lamar
his vertical?
Jackson. Why are you? He got a 36-inch vertical. Okay, I know you're making fun of me for this, and I don't understand why.
Nah.
Tell me.
What's the point of a quarterback vertical?
His athleticism is. I mean, why do any of them do verticals?
For certain players it makes sense, but for a quarterback, to me, it doesn't make sense to do vert. But
I think it helps. I think it helps show his athleticism, and I like that he did well in it. But does he have? Do you guys think he has a chance to supplant Pickett or Malik Willis, which we'll also get to?
Oh shoot!
What's up?
No, go ahead.
We'll
just get this out.
Get hit by a tornado?
Yeah, and get blown away.
No, you're good. We don't have to take it out. It's fine. But I mean, I can read some stats to you, and then I'll read about Malik Willis.
I just got lost in my notes.
Oh, you're good.
That's why.
Everybody loves me reading off these numbers, so I'll do it. Ritter's he led the Bearcats to the college football playoff, of course, with 3,334 passing yards on 65% completion, 30 touchdowns, 6 picks, and 365 rushing yards with 6 TDs. The NFL comparison for him for NFL.com is Alex Smith. And then last I've got, and of course I'm glazing over one quarterback. I think Andy's probably going to bring up, probably Mauricio as well. But the Liberty QB Malik Willis, he's probably had the most hype so far as possibly being the first quarterback off the board. He played his first 2 seasons at Auburn before transferring to Liberty and starting the 2020 and 2021 seasons. In his first season at Liberty, he led them to a 9-1 record in his 10 starts with 2,250 passing yards on 64% completion, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And he also led all FBS quarterbacks with 944 rushing yards, including 14 touchdowns. But then last season, the team fell back a little bit to 8-5, and Willis finished with 2,857 passing yards at 61% completion rate, 27 touchdowns, 12 picks. He's 6 foot 219, 9.5 inch hands. If you were curious, NFL.com's got his comparison as Jay Cutler's arm with Jalen Hurts' build/play style. So, what do you guys? Who you guys think is going to be the first QB off the board, or will it be one of the ones I didn't even mention?
I don't know. It's so hard to tell.
I think Pickett is probably gonna go first for sure.
That's who I would lean toward as well.
Oh, okay.
Then the guy from Liberty.
And I did forget to mention Matt Corral from Ole Miss. But in my mind, I cannot forget the 6 interception game he had against Arkansas, and it's a roadblock in my mind for him. But you guys are going with Pickett?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think teams are probably going to not care about the hand size. I mean, if that's the only detractor he has, then that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So
I think Malik Willis will act. I feel like, and this isn't who I think will have the best career, but I think Malik Willis will probably get taken first as far as quarterbacks. I think the hype is. I mean, there's too much hype for a team not to pick him up super quick, and he's incredibly mobile. And I think with the way the league's shifting to that mobile quarterback, I think he's definitely going first. I know a lot of mock drafts have him going to the Steelers, so if he does, let's hope he sucks. But I think the guy with the best career, in my opinion, I think might be Desmond Ridder.
Yeah,
it's because of that vertical. It's sick.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Ridder will be enticing just because he's played in bigger games, especially this last college football season. Mm-hmm. I'm sure teams will look at that and say, "Oh, he's got a lot of experience." Because I mean, you look at a guy coming from Liberty and Malik Willis. Liberty's not a flashy name school, but I know we talked with the NBA that it's not always the school you go to that. Because Cooper Kupp came out of Eastern Washington.
I was going to say, I think if you're looking at any sport that's going to have a smaller college star, would be probably NFL.
Yeah. So
it's not baseball.
Bucky Brooks has Ridder going. Is not a first round pick. Bucky Brooks of NFL.com does not have Ridder going as the first.
Does he have
pick.
any quarterbacks in the first round?
Yeah, he had Pickett, Willis, and Corral.
Oh well, what does he know?
Yeah, I don't know. And he had Willis going to Pittsburgh, and I think that'd be a nice fit. Just to
please no.
Well,
they're just trying to get Lamar. That's what they're doing.
But a couple of the mocks I did see that had Kenny Pickett going first of the quarterbacks. They had him going to Carolina. And Denver was another place that I could see him go.
Yeah, if Denver doesn't get Aaron Rodgers.
But the Commanders.
Well, I'm going to bring them up in a little bit. But I think just one of the things that we can, with just any quarterback we can talk about this class is I just hope that they don't get thrown to the wolves right away. Because I don't know that any of these quarterbacks can be a starter right away. And just hoping that they get some good coaching as well. We saw what poor coaching did to Trevor Lawrence this year.
Yeah, luckily I think they nipped that in the bud quick enough.
Oh yeah, Doug Peterson should
fine.
Be. Yeah.
So, if I was a team this year and I needed a quarterback, I probably would skip this draft.
Yeah, well, you say that, but then you've got teams like Pittsburgh who, I mean, are they realistically going to start who they've got right now?
No, but
they can try to trade, I guess.
You go and do what Chicago did last year. You trade for like Andy Dalton or somebody like that to hold you up for this 1 year or 2 year.
Back to the Dalton talk.
I've been hearing Mitchell Trubisky as an attractive name for some reason.
Yeah, somebody like that, just to hold you up until there's a good quarterback class.
I just can't help but think of one tweet when I think of Mitchell Trubisky, but that's beside the fact.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I saw that the other day. Well, since you brought that up, Mauricio, I didn't put this in as a note question or anything like that. I'll just throw it to you guys now. I don't know if you've seen this, but it seems like the Commanders are calling everybody and anybody about a quarterback. And okay. Well, they reached out to the Chiefs about Mahomes.
Wait, no, you're lying.
They've reached out to like about 40 different quarterbacks in the league.
Jeez.
And so they're obviously desperate for a quarterback to take Heineke's place, which I didn't think Heineke was awful.
Did they get
No.
laughed at? Like, they
Oh,
seriously
I'm
asked
sure.
for Mahomes?
That was seriously one of those who hangs up first kind of
That's
deals.
really funny.
But yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you think might go to Washington?
It'd be ironic, but like Kirk Cousins coming back.
No, but I don't think anybody's going there. I think it's just too messy right now.
Really?
Yeah, with all the Dan Snyder and front office stuff, and obviously the front office is calling people about Mahomes. Like, stop. That's not happening. No, I don't think that's an attractive place to go right now.
I know the Lions were trying to get rid of Jared Goff too.
I could see that.
That could work.
That may be like Trubisky and Goff may be the only options for them at this point, which honestly would probably be fine. But like you said, like, I don't know who brought up Heineke. I would ride with him.
Yeah. I didn't think Heineke was that bad.
No.
And honestly, we're talking about the NFC East, where no teams repeated as division champions in 100 years. So, I mean, it may not be a bad thing for Washington to go in on some kind of quarterback. The names I've been seeing, like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, are probably not going to be guys that go there. I just can't see that happening. But I just want to throw that out to you guys, see if you had heard anything about that, because I thought it was kind of wild that they've been calling every team in the league about quarterbacks, and Patrick Mahomes came up for some reason.
Oh, that was interesting though. It caught me off guard. Do you go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I knew they were willing to. I know in a lot of those proposal trades, they were willing to throw Chase Young.
Really?
Plus first round picks for whoever they could get,
Teams
Chase
might
Young.
jump on that. Chase Young's great.
Yeah, he's coming off an ACL tear though, right?
He is. Yeah, that's true.
Overtime rule changes, especially in the playoffs, have been a hot button issue since the Chiefs and Bills game. And this week there was some talk that the NFL is looking at changing these rules. I know you guys, we've discussed it in the past, and so I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on that before I give my opinion, and we can go from there.
Mauricio?
They should adapt. I think that it's what they done in the college football. I think after the second overtime where you just like line up,
go for
two, but maybe not necessarily 2 point right away, but just line up like like college overtime. You just line up at the what is it, like 20, 25?
25, yeah.
You get you try to get your touchdown, and if you don't, turn it over.
Okay, yeah. So some kind of adaptation.
So somebody can't score anymore.
Yeah.
That way people can't complain like, oh, they won the toss, so they automatically won the game.
I got you. Well, I went to the League of Ladies for this one. So my mother and my wife, I got to give some more input. We had some good input from them last time, and I think they both agreed that the most sensible choice would be to, and I agree with them, most sensible choice would be to play out the entire 15-minute overtime period. Whoever's ahead at the end is the winner. So, I mean, NBA does it. We see it in soccer. It's not just a crazy new idea. It's pretty easy. Nothing crazy there. My wife agrees that the current way is not good. Surprisingly, I think my mom is okay with the current overtime rules, which surprises me because she's a Chiefs fan. So I would have thought the year that they got burned by it would have affected that. But I'm not going to read all of these options for rule changes, but there are some interesting ones that people have come up with online. And I think my favorite that would be most likely would be the one that the Ringer came up with, and that's the simplest. Just play the entire period, 10 minutes in the regular season, 15 in the playoffs. I think super easy. Doesn't take half an hour to explain to the fans each game, and it gets the job done. I'll give an honorable mention to someone on Twitter called 5 Point Vids.
I love that guy.
He has said both teams get the ball. First touchdown must go for 1. Opposing touchdown must go for 2. or one if the other team missed their extra point. So I think that could bring some strategy into play, like whether you want to get the ball first or not, to know kind of what you need to do.
5 Points is a part of that podcast that I was listening to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He does a lot of good introspective videos.
I was going to say that one. Yeah, that was really awesome.
Yeah. Check out 5 Points. So I am in favor of some new rules. And I know my team was a beneficiary this year of it. But I mean, it's stupid to have one possession in an overtime NFL, especially in a playoff game. Especially in a game where the Chiefs and Bills were going back and forth at it for a while.
Yeah. It was obvious that the coin toss winner was going to win that one.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's happened before. The Chiefs tried to get their rules changed whenever the Patriots beat them in the playoffs a few years ago, and it wasn't obviously approved. So, I mean, I do think there needs to be a fix. I don't know that I like the college football overtime rules for the NFL.
I think the talent's just too good to be starting at the 25.
Yeah. And I mean, the only way I think it could work is if you move the starting position further back in the field.
Yeah, maybe the 50.
I don't like the idea of kicking field goals until someone misses.
Yeah, I did put that in the notes.
Yeah.
Like a penalty shootout type
thing. Yeah. I saw some crazy things where people were talking about, let's do a 5-minute period. Let's do the Chiefs held the ball for more than 5 minutes. That would be stupid. I think probably the best answer is the 15 minutes in the playoffs at least. But I think you're also looking at injuries though, because especially with the added 15th game or 18th game, and it was clear that the Chiefs and Bills defenses were both extremely exhausted at the end of that game. So injuries happen when they're exhausted. But you guys may not like this part, but all that talk about the overtime needs to be changed. Nobody wanted to point out that the Bills gave up 50 yards in the last 13 seconds. I mean,
still mad.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't give up 50 yards in 13 seconds because everyone thought the game was over. I thought the game was over when the Bills scored that last touchdown. Oh yeah, Leslie Frazier went into prevent defense and to defend the sidelines, and Chiefs went up the middle and kicked a field goal to tie it.
Never go prevent.
Why? Like, none of us would have been talking about it if Leslie Frazier didn't do that defense, and it might have. People were saying that it might have cost him a head coaching job in the offseason.
In retrospect, I'm glad it happened because I'm glad they're talking about changing the rules.
Right.
I'm mad at the time.
Right. So let's move into the USFL. It seems like it's in trouble before it has gotten started play at least. The old USFL is suing the new USFL. And as a lifelong Michigan Panthers fan, I've got to say that I'm quite disappointed.
A lifelong Michigan Panthers. Oh, gosh. I guess I'm going to have to ride with the Breakers then. So I'll pick a team.
I just wanted to pick the team that had the most unique fielder combination. I don't like Jeff Fisher. I wish he was fired.
Yeah. You fire Jeff Fisher.
Already calling for his head.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot we know right now about all this, but we know they're suing for copyright infringement. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I don't really understand why the league didn't try to use maybe like a new name if they didn't get copyright permission from the old organization.
I have no idea about that.
And how long do you guys think it'll last? Because I'm thinking one season. I mean, we've seen it before with the AFL, AAFL. Yeah, and then the XFL's got a deal with the NFL. So I think that's going to be the real dagger for the USFL, is because with having that deal in place to create kind of a trial system where they're going to be a training ground for rule changes. I think that really hurts the what's currently the USFL. We'll see if it stays that way.
Like, how did they even get this far without getting like sued? And now right before they start playing, like, oh, now it's when they're getting sued.
Yeah, Andy says Andy's got the inside scoop. Of course, we thought he had the inside scoop about the MLB lockout negotiations, though, and that turned out to be a dud. So.
Yeah, that wasn't my fault. That was Bleacher Report. You mentioned you don't know why they didn't just do a new name, and I think I think just attaching your name to the USFL just gets you some recognition, at least from
I guess, yeah.
that the generation that watched it. Because I've been talking to my dad a little bit about it, and I don't know that he would otherwise be interested in it, but he said that he liked the New Jersey Generals. Is that the team? See, I don't even know the team now.
Sure.
Hmm?
I think there was a team that was like a general or something.
Yeah, I think he said that he enjoyed watching the Generals because they had Steve Young and Herschel Walker and some of those guys that played there. And something he keeps bringing up is that old USFL, they had money to bring some of these bigger name prospects in to the league, and that's why it was so successful. But it only stayed around for 3 years.
Well, that was before the NFL was like what it is now, though.
Right. And so,
like NBA and
ABA. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I think it won't last long. I think a year, if they get to play a full season, then maybe that's a win. Because the talent in the draft didn't seem very great to me.
Yeah.
And especially whenever you've got the NFL cutting a deal with the XFL, and I mean that's already going to be a de facto minor league system, I guess, was what you could call it. And Dwayne Johnson's involved with the XFL, so I just think the USFL is just dead in the water right now.
Yeah, we got to get our gear now.
Yeah, well, I would argue that you wait until it's dead and then it'll be cheaper.
Or you get it now and it'll be exclusive and be worth more because you can't get it anymore.
I don't want to pay $75 for a Michigan Panthers jersey.
Oh, is that much?
Yeah, all the jerseys are $75, and
Never mind. Don't go get it.
I'm pretty sure they look like knockoffs of the ones the players are wearing.
Gosh, we're already a mess.
Yep.
Let's hit up our last topic then, the one I just brought up. That your breaking news was a big dud. So yes. MLB lockout's still going. Yep. I'm still seeing drawings of Mike Trout.
Yep. I forgot the guy's name that's drawing them.
You shouted him out before. Right?
Yeah, he gets his one shout out. Whoever wrote that article last week where it said that the MLB, I'm getting my leagues confused. The MLB lockout is going to end. He is a liar. I'm just kidding. I don't know if he's a liar, but I did mention that the article didn't seem very confident.
Yeah. But yeah, Fraud Manfred recently canceled some regular season games for the first time in 27 years as he laughed and joked during the press conference. So, it seemed like a huge farce from the beginning. I'm not going to get super into it because I know you know baseball a lot better than I do, but it just seems like the commissioner hates baseball. I don't know why you'd want to be a commissioner of a league that you hate. But I mean, you can go further into that if you want.
Yeah, I'll let Mauricio have the floor because I might be talking for a little bit.
No, I don't mind. Let them take all the time they want.
Yeah. Oh, you might be the only person in the world that is happy about this lockout.
Let them get till August, and then we'll see what happens.
You just don't want all these opposing fans coming into Houston watching the Astros.
I don't want them to make my year longer than it has to be. Work.
Hey, fair enough.
If they don't play games by August, you might as well just cancel the season.
Yeah, it's let's call it this year. Let's work for next year.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not going to get that far. Of course, I said it was only going to last 2 months whenever it started. So
we need to block off an hour right now for what Andy's about to say.
No, I won't take long. But I will say I was bamboozled by that guy that wrote that article last week. I'm a little ticked about that.
Bamboozled.
I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with baseball, or with the MLB. Baseball is my favorite sport. The Chicago Cubs are my favorite sports team. But I hate the blackout restrictions that's going on with the league. It makes no sense why I can't watch the Cubs and Cardinals game living in Arkansas without paying for ridiculous cable service, even though I have MLB TV.
That's
Rob,
not even an MLB only issue. I feel like that's all the leagues,
yeah,
which is
it's so
just
dumb.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But yeah, I can't stand Rob, man who lets me down. And I don't understand why this lockout's still going on. It's clear from the beginning that the owners did not want to begin the season on time. You've had numerous players come out and mention that the owners didn't come with an offer for 2.5 months, and
I saw that.
it did seem like things were getting closer. What you read earlier on in the week is things were getting close between the two sides, and then the owners set a deadline for Monday afternoon, I think Monday night one, and there were talks going on between the two sides for 16 hours. They decided to extend the deadline to Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and obviously things didn't get settled there. And my biggest thing is the two sides didn't meet Wednesday. Like, there were no conversations about the lockout Wednesday, and I don't know how you do that whenever you you're in jeopardy of losing revenue, both sides, and there's just something. And I was going to point out before Friday that you're putting the stadium workers in jeopardy too. They're not getting money that they're counting on. But I did see the players are going to pay some missing salary that, and I did see that the owners may do that eventually. I don't know if they will because they don't want baseball to go on right now, apparently. But it seemed like a lot of this started brewing in 2020 during the pandemic year. They started the season in late July, only played 66 games, and revenue was a big thing there, and it's a big thing here. Luxury tax issues are bad. Bob Nightingale, he's not the best source in the world, so take this how you may, but he was the first one I saw that said this. The two sides are $50 million apart in the pre-arbitration pool, and the luxury tax differences are $18 million in 2022, $37 million in 2023, or over the next 5 years. Or I'm sorry, 137 over the next 5 years is how much they're. I imagine that's combined.
Yeah.
And I will say that I keep seeing or hearing people say 90 games have been canceled. That's not 90 games of 162 game season. That's two series per team, roughly.
Yeah, I saw that number kind of jumped out to me at first, and then I had to think about it like, oh, that's all these teams playing each other.
Yeah. So the cost of player salaries has fallen over the last few years while revenue has been going up. That creates part of the problem is what we're seeing now. And so the two sides met today, and it looks like nothing got done. They're still apart in money. They are, let's see, where are they at? They're talking about rule changes now, pitch clock and stuff like that. But it just seems like they're not getting done. Bob Nightingale, again, not a great trusted source, said that the major concessions are the Super 2 class expansion, reduction of revenue sharing, and elimination of non-monetary CBT penalties. So like draft picks and stuff like that, I guess. We're talking about accepted uniform patches, so I wonder if that has to do with like what the ML or the NBA has done and just put a little.
I never did like that.
Yeah. Expanded playoffs. That's been another thing. They've been talking about the playoffs for. It was kind of approved that 12 teams would be what they're going for, but now they're talking about 14 being what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I guess my major concern is we saw the damage that the strike in the 90s did. Well, I was 3 at the time, but I keep constantly hearing about what the labor strike, the damage that it did, and how people didn't come back to baseball. And so I'm just kind of afraid that if this lockout extends even further, especially after 2020, that people are just going to give up on baseball.
Yeah, I feel like it's been losing a little bit of steam lately too, especially like with the younger community. They're gravitated more toward NBA, NFL. Baseball just, I don't know, it has that old man feel still. And I think to bring it back to the youth, taking a year off definitely isn't going to help because they're going to forget about it and they're going to be like, oh yeah, the world was fine without baseball. So I think you're right. I think it could have some long lasting damage.
Well, I saw something today that said Mike Trout has fewer Twitter followers than Tyler Hero.
And so, I saw that, but to be fair, Tyler Hero is like a huge social media person, so I don't know if that's like the fairest comparison. He markets a ton and appeals to the younger audience,
right? But
who are on there more.
Mike Trout's arguably the best player in the MLB. And
that's true.
So you'd think that he would, and I know I've heard that his personality is not the best. Heck, Rob Manfred said that he needs to market himself better. So, but it's not necessarily Mike Trout's job to market himself. It's MLB needs to throw him on MLB The Show, which they haven't done. I don't know if that's because he had a RBI baseball thing, but
yeah. But I mean, I feel like people follow like other players like Tyler Hero and stuff more, not just for what they say on social media. I know Mike Trout's probably putting out promotional stuff and normal stuff, but also Hero I think does a lot of like. And I could be way off here. I'm pretty sure he does a lot of streaming and video game stuff. So he's appealing to like a much wider audience and like has a lot of different content. He's actually trying to build his social media base up, whereas Mike Trout's kind of obligated to do it for the MLB. So, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I just wanted to point out that Tyler Hero is actively trying to get those followers and engagement.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But I mean, it's still crazy that Mike Trout doesn't have. But yeah, Manfred, I've seen ex-players, a lot of people say he's got to go. And I am at the point where I agree. He called the World Series trophy a piece of metal a couple of years ago.
So. I forgot about that. I mean, he complained about the rules, the length and pace of the game, opposition to extra innings. And then he effectively dissolved 42 minor league teams, reduced the entry draft, just all kinds of stuff. I mean, he just seems like the primary villain in all this, especially with like I said, the laughing during all that. Like, it's rough to watch.
Which I meant to look up the entry draft thing because I know it was reduced to 5 years during the pandemic from 40. Or I guess we're still in the pandemic. It was reduced in 2020, I should say. And I think it was fewer rounds this year. So I don't know if it was directly tied to the pandemic or what. But anyway, but I know there has been talks of adding the international players into that too, into the draft. Okay. But that hasn't happened. But
well, we'll see. We'll see next time we get together and talk if the MLB has a deal or not.
Yeah. What will last longer, this show or the MLB's lockout?
Or the USFL?
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
I'm just